we're gonna start how we normally started. We'll still be, you know what I'm saying? We got a guest, of course. Everyone sees that. That's obvious. But I gotta start with your hate, though.
My hate?
With Rex Orange County's.
Oh, whoa, okay. I don't want to call it hate, but yeah, we can take it there.
Okay, so you know, explain, because I'm a new Rex fan. Mm-hmm. You're an old school Rex fan.
Yep.
Asia, you don't know too much.
I'm new to it. So
you're new to it.
I'm gonna have to be introduced.
Not a problem. So we're gonna get you there. But I need to start with your hate.
All right.
Though.
So as an old Rex fan, or like as an old school Rex fan, as a dude, his first two albums were like great to me, and then his third album kind of sounded totally different, which, I mean, this is what we should expect from an artist. They're growing, they're changing, their music isn't going to sound the same forever. If it sounded the same forever, we wouldn't want to listen to it. Mm-hmm. But I'm just not a huge fan of the new direction he's gone, and his third album was my least favorite, and his fourth album now essentially kind of sounds like the third one is what I've heard, so I'm not too excited about that.
Okay, can I?
So no, go ahead.
Can I play a little bit?
Play it a little bit.
I gotta play a little. I gotta play a little bit. Like, I know you hate it already. I knew you hated it already. I know you bobbing your head back and forth.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Alright, no, okay, so do me a favor. Play a song off of like one of his first two albums.
Okay, you picked the song.
Oh man, this is...
Bro, I love that type of music.
Okay, I mean, like, same, I guess, but like where he started. So this is his first album. This is called Because You Will Never Be Free from 2016. This is the second song off the album.
Okay.
Let's see.
It was a lot sadder music and less of like that happy-go-lucky like.
Oh, so you like the old Weekend?
Yes.
That's so depressing.
What?
I love all Weekend.
I haven't even listened to his latest album.
So you're not gonna like it.
Darn, I know I'm not.
You're not gonna like it.
I know
he's too happy.
That's why I haven't wasted my time yet.
Like, he's sad, but he's also happy.
I'm all about change. Like Andre 3000, totally different.
100%. One of my favorites.
But I love it all.
100%.
So you can be different, but you know.
You gotta be good too.
Yeah.
You gotta be good.
Yeah.
I'll have to listen to some more.
I'm very happy.
Yeah.
It's just not for me at the moment. I got to come around back to it.
Of course. We'll see.
We'll give it a chance.
All right. Well, we do what we do. I am your host as always, Harry Danso, here with my co-host Ravon.
Hey.
Wagwan.
What's up?
And here with our wonderful guest that took the time to see us today, Miss Asia. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm honored to be here.
We're honored to have you.
Yeah. My name is Asia Atwood. Among many things, CEO and co-founder of Trella Technologies.
Word. Can you give us a little bit of background on Trella?
Yeah. So Trella is a company that me and my co-founder, Dre, started back in 2016. And the first thing that we decided to do is try to figure out how can you control tall plants when you're growing them indoors. I was a grower myself, growing in a basement, growing in a grow tent, had to travel a lot for work, so had the lights automated. I had my heat coming on and off when I needed it, humidifier or dehumidifier depending on the time of the year. Everything was set except for if I went away for too long, plants would grow into the lights. So was looking for a new project to jump into, and me and my co-founder got together and said, I wonder if there's anything out there that can control a plant from growing automatically when you're not there. Looked around, no one thought of it, no one came up with it. So he's an engineer, I'm an engineer, we said let's get together and do it. So that's what started Trella Technologies, and we've been devoting our time to trying to come up with new innovative solutions to indoor farming really to try to figure out how can we grow more things indoors because, my background, and we can get into that later, I see a huge need to grow food indoors, like emergency, like red alert, woo, woo, like get growing inside. So this is part of that journey.
Word.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's start from the beginning a little bit. You're originally from Philly.
Yeah.
How does a girl from Philly decide to kind of get into agriculture, trying to figure out that type of avenue?
Yeah. If you told me when I was graduating high school in Philly that this is what I would be doing, I'd be like, but I never really knew. Like I always was that type of person that was like, what will you be doing in 10 years? I was like, I don't know. I'll be an engineer, I guess, but I don't really know what that looks like what I would be doing with that skill, because it wasn't really ready yet. Like it wasn't there, but now it's here. So yeah, I grew up in South Philly. Attended a lot of different types of schools. Got to see a lot of different types of things, from poor, lower class, hardly any funding public school, to like high end. This is where like the senator's kids go to school, like private school. So I had to go to a lot of different places. So when it was time for me to go to school, I was open to going to another place. I wasn't really like fearful of leaving Philadelphia. And then the other thing was I needed a scholarship because I couldn't afford it. So Northeastern in Boston, I was able to get a scholarship from them. And I wanted to travel. I wanted to get out and see some things. So I decided, despite what a lot of my family friends said, black girl, why you want to go up to Boston? I was like,
They weren't wrong.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's different up here. But I was like, all right, let me get this free education and get and see what happens. So I became a mechanical engineer by degree, but then when I graduated, I didn't really want to do the like typical. I don't even know, all right, I'm 42, so I think I might be in a different generation than y'all. I could tell by the music you were playing for me. I was like, yeah, y'all think I'm in another decade.
Hold on, all right, let me just say this real quick. What? I've seen a lot of things that surprised me about you.
Yeah.
That might be the number one thing that surprised me out of all things.
What?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I'm about to turn 30.
Yeah.
You could tell me you guys were the same age.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Yo,
that's
I
beautiful.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that because I do
crap.
not. I look at myself and I'm like, no, you don't look the same. Yeah, no, but where was I going with that? Jeez, lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, yeah, Northeastern.
Yeah.
You know, where you're coming from, a girl from Philly being over there, and then you trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah, so I didn't want, when I graduated in like 2002 era, there were not a lot of engineering, like they were laying off people. It wasn't the best time to be graduating. And I had already had some experience with the co-op program at Northeastern of working in some engineering firms and just knew like working in an office, like a Dilbert cartoon. And Dilbert is like an old, comic strip cartoon. I don't know if you guys saw it. That's what made me think, well, they get it when I say Dilbert, but maybe some people listening might get it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's very dry environment. You're just sitting behind a computer all day. I knew that wasn't for me. So I went to a career fair and found out about another type of path an engineer could take called being a risk engineer. So I got into risk engineering, and that's basically where you go around and you evaluate how can you stop fires, explosions, and natural catastrophes from destroying businesses, properties, utilities, hospitals, like all types of industries, power plants, all of it. They all need to be, protected to some degree. And they need engineers to figure out what's going to explode, what's going to make it explode. And that was the path that I decided to take. But I always knew, I think it was like when I hit 30, that's when I had the like entrepreneurial bug, and I was like, yeah, I can't work for someone for the rest of my life. I got to be able to do what it is that I wake up wanting to do and wanting to create. So started a couple of different startups. The first one was day trading. Did the typical thing that people do, go after the money. Wrong. That wasn't my passion. Start again. Then I went into, that's when I got into cannabis. It was several years later, but that was around like 2015, where I was watching the industry, watching documentaries, reading about the medicinal properties of cannabis. I used to play flag football and then women's tackle football for like 3 years. And when you're doing that type of stuff, there's nobody that's like, no one's paying you to play. You're playing because you love it. And you're hurting. So you have to figure out ways to like medicate yourself. So I went to cannabis. After a game, a lot of people would go to alcohol, unfortunately. I'd go to cannabis. So I knew it was doing something for me. I just didn't know the science behind it. So around 2015, is when I started to like learn that. And I said, I know I want to get into this industry. I can see what's coming. There's space for me here, but I don't want to go get a license and sell it route. Because again, I already learned from trading, going after the money. Like, don't do what's just after the money. Go for the passion. So I said, my passion is creating stuff I've never seen before. So that's what I got to do. And it took some time to figure out what that would be and what that idea would look like. But that's what got us to Trella.
Right. All right. Let me give that story around the corner.
Wait, yeah.
It's a beautiful story. That's a beautiful
No, yeah,
story.
definitely following your passion and not following the money is a huge, already a risk itself. Pun on risk engineering. But, now that's pretty cool. So I assume that's how you started with cannabis for your device.
Yeah.
I don't want to say device, but...
That's fine. Yeah. No, that's why I said, all right, I'm growing cannabis, so it was designed for that. But before we put like a lot of energy into it and made it into a company, I randomly ran into an angel investor who was like, before you do anything with your invention, because it wasn't really a product, we called it an invention, you need to figure out like who's going to use it just besides you. So we took a pause, did some research, and that's when we figured out the vertical farming industry, which is, visually, to give people an example of what I'm talking about. You got people who are growing in like warehouse racks, one level on top of another. That's a version of vertical farming, but when you put things in racks, you have a limited height. And then you have to get to these levels. So to try to figure out a solution that would automatically help to control that height and alleviate the need to have so many points of contact or so much labor that's a part of having to go up and down all those levels is where we thought we could position Trella to help with that. And it's got other possibilities too with container farms and even like I was saying, like growing indoors. We're going to have to grow underground, perhaps, in some areas. Like, that's where this climate change stuff is going. And the risk engineer in me is like, I've seen what happens when it floods. Shit's not pretty.
Yeah.
And that's just like one event. We've got them coming more and more and more, but I won't go down that path yet. We got time, I guess.
So I know you said, we talked a little bit earlier, you said you played football and you used cannabis, after every game. Are you avid smoker, or I know you talked a little bit before about tinctures and stuff like that now, or was it just smoking at the time?
At the time, it was just smoking. I didn't know anything about a tincture.
Okay. Cool.
It was, how am I going to get some flour? It wasn't consistent. You had sometimes a connect that was available for a few months, and then they disappear, and you'd have to find another connect. So it was all just trying to get your hands on any flour. Didn't really know, what the THC, CBD, any of the cannabinoid profiles, none of that type of stuff when I was first getting into it. So, but that's when, like 2015, when I started to realize, wow, there's a lot more to this plant, which is one of the reasons why it's been held back from us. So, yeah, I'm still on it. I do flower and tincture, usually at night, to try to bring my brain activity down so I can sleep.
Yeah.
So I'll take a hit of a joint, maybe like 4 or 5 puffs, and then I hit the tincture. So the flower is to get me to bring the level down, and the tincture is to keep me in a deep sleep. And then I wake up and feel pretty rested in the morning.
And I know you did a lot of growing. Is your product something that you would truly recommend to someone who's just like at home grower right now?
Yeah, actually, we're working on another model. So we have two models now. They're both automated. They have lots of bells and whistles and all these features. But what we're learning is that there's a home grow market that just wants some help. So we're coming up with a different version to help that type of market, like a home grower who just needs some assistance keeping track of their plants. They may not be looking for the like premium solution that we offer, so we need to figure out what we can do for them.
Okay, well.
And now we speak about the home growers. Could we get into what your premium solution is? I feel like we haven't even fully discussed on that yet.
Yeah.
Touched on that.
Yeah, true. So to try to describe it, basically it's a device that will train a plant to grow sideways. So it takes the top of the plant, and over time, based on how fast the plant is growing, and there's sensors in there tracking all of that, it moves the top of the plant to the side, and then gradually over time, you wind up having a plant that would be, 6 feet tall, but it's going 6 feet in the horizontal direction versus going 6 feet up towards your lights. So we basically just take that plant and lay it down sideways at the end of the day. And then once you get through that vegetation process and it's time for flowering, you have a plant that's got all of the majority of its branches intact, because you didn't have to go down there and lollipop the bejesus out of the thing, because you could lay it sideways, which a lot of people have done in the past. It's not new to grow a plant sideways, it's just that we're automating it. So we automate that process. We also have an app that tracks how fast the plant is growing, the temperature, the humidity, the CO2, so that we can try to optimize what's the best environment to get the plant to grow the fastest, so you can get through that veg phase fast, create that nice even canopy, and when it's time for flower, you just switch your lights, switch your nutrients, and then you let it flower. We have a lot of plans on things that we want to do outside of that, like with AI and cameras and adding additional sensors. Because we're controlling the plant, our system is very close to it, so it's perfect for like putting cameras in different locations and being able to, biologically identify things, pests, pathogens, other problems that some other systems use, either from like an overhead camera or just from having to have somebody there all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your automated system more eco-friendly? I know that's something that you are probably looking to make sure happens. Is it more eco-friendly, and does it make the flower better?
So plant training, like training a plant to grow sideways, or just, it's also called low stress training. So that method has been around for millennia because it helps you to get more yield. So that's inherent to the design. But, in order to, I would say, take it to, I think the biggest benefit is the data, is being able to, go back and see how fast was I able to get that thing going, because the quicker you grow it, the shorter your veg cycle, the more harvest you have per year. So that is what gives you the increased revenue and the increase, that's the return on investment for somebody to purchase something like that, is being able to get through that scrog process. And scrog is screen of green. It's just another way that people train the plant to grow, nice and uniform and keep it flat. That process takes a lot of doing it by hand, tying it down. You're in there maybe every other day. And it does tend to slow the plant's growth down because you're constantly moving the plant. So if we can stay hands off, only really contact it in two places like we do with Trella. We have 2 points of contact and that's it. And we're moving it very gently and very slowly, only when the plant really is ready to be moved. It's faster growth, faster cycle, more harvest, more yield, more revenue. Yeah.
The cycle of life.
Yeah. It's about. So, being a black woman in the industry, I'm sure you've seen some challenges a little bit, especially within what you're actually doing. I don't know too many people doing what you're doing. How difficult has it been, or has it not been difficult at all? Trying to get your product to be seen more.
That's hard to say, because that's what's messed up sometimes. I think about being an African American or a Black American, like, in this country, is you don't really know sometimes, like, is it that I'm not doing what I need to do, or is there something out there that's like prohibiting me from moving to the next step? At times I feel like, yeah, there's something, like, it's obvious, but at times I'm like, is it me? And because I can't be in someone else's shoes, it's really hard to say, oh, it's because I'm, this or that. I do think, I don't know, I feel, I sense that people look at what we're doing and they go, wow, that's cool, and then they look at who's doing it and they go, nah. But I don't know. I think that happens for some people. There's some people that look at it and they go, oh, wow, that's cool, and they look at who did it and they go, wow, that's inspiring.
Yeah.
So I just try to focus on that, and that feeling, that that thought. We're not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. I don't need to be for everybody. It's all good. For those that I'm for, let's do it. But for those that are against, it's all good. Just let me be me. So that's kind of how I am about it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good perspective to have on it, honestly. Yeah.
It took a lot of work.
100%. And you mentioned it taking a lot of work. I know that your product has taken a lot of work itself, in the sense of it's taken you a long time, not necessarily a long time to find your proper model, but I know you've gone through a few different versions of your product before you've come to what you're at now. Could you speak a little bit to that and like the process of consistently trying to recreate something?
Yeah, boy. I mean, we're on like design number 7, and like version wise, we started back in 2016. The bulk of that early work was really just trying to get the paperwork for the patent and figuring out the design for the patent. And you at least have to get it to a point where it does, like, it works. So, that was a lot of like 2016, 2017, 2018. But then when it's time to sell it and to market it, that's when it's like, ooh, at least for us, because, I'm an engineer, my co-founder's an engineer, marketing and sales, not our strengths. We just kind of want to be like, leave the money at the door and let us build shit, please.
If that could be a pitch, that would be the perfect marketing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to say on our pitch deck sometimes. But you need to. It's a fair exchange, so you have to share information. We also decided to do it from a perspective of not taking on like venture capital or like a major, huge investor. We wanted to bootstrap it, use crowdfunding. And we didn't have like a large budget like a hardware/software tech company would have. Like most companies probably have a capital budget over $2 or $5 million at this stage. We've done it for less than $600,000. So we've been also working with low overhead, but just trying to stay focused on the product and can we make it. How can we make it without? And I think you asked the question about this, so I'll circle back to it, the eco-friendly model of it all, and trying to be sustainable and thoughtful about the materials that we're using, who we're using, where we're getting our products from. That has an impact on cost, so you really have to be like creative about where do you get the parts from? How do you manufacture the parts? So we decided to cut costs and to really help us out a lot and to keep us to allow us to be flexible was to do 3D printing. So we 3D print a lot of our like plastic parts that are custom because we just had, we took our design to what's called a contract manufacturer where you can basically just say, we invented this, you build it. And they wanted like,
A lot of money.
Yeah, it was almost $500,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's crazy. That's
actually insane.
Yeah. But because they do upfront engineering and they have to do all that legwork, and we were like, and then that's when the pandemic hit, like right around that time frame. We were supposed to go to South by Southwest to pitch, like all this stuff was supposed to be like going in this direction, and then when we when the pandemic hit, that's what made me have to sit down and go, all right, you said you wanted to do this a certain way. Now you have to. You have to be smarter about it. You have to be more creative with your money. And we decided, let's do 3D printing, but let's figure out a material that we can print with that won't have a negative impact on the planet. So we decided to go with something that's recyclable, and that's something called PETG, and that's a water bottle, PET. The G is for glycol. It just adds a little bit more oomph to the material.
So it's a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Okay.
But PETG is what we decided to go with, and with that we can, someone sends, you get scrap parts, you can grind it up, re-spool it, and print with it again. So that's one of the things that we wanted to do. And we also, just in 2021, became a benefit corporation to really make sure that was, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Benefit Corp. Should I just jump into it real quick?
A little bit.
Please.
So a Benefit Corp is different than like a traditional corporation, like an S Corp you might have heard of, or a C Corp you might have heard of. We're a B Corp. And instead of being a corporation, traditional corporations that are they're beholden to the shareholders. Like, they got to make money for the people that invested in them. With a benefit corporation, while that is part of our goal, it is not our primary goal. Our primary goal is to meet the benefit to the community, to the greater good. So you have to state what your benefit will be, and then you have to hold the company to it. So for us, it was creating sustainable indoor farming technology. That's it. That's our goal. And we have to do, whenever we make a financial decision or a business decision, that has to be at the forefront. So by changing the company to a benefit corp, it's written into the bylaws. It's in our, like it can't be changed unless the entire board votes to change it. And the entire board that we have is 100% on board with a benefit corp. So no matter what happens 5 years from now, that has to remain. And that was part of that eco-friendly thing, is making sure that we don't stray when times get tough, and just go, we're just going to get it from China. We could do that. We could easily do that. But we've decided that that's not what we're going to do.
Okay. Chase the passion, not the money.
Yeah.
Gotta say it.
No, it makes perfect sense. So right now you started in cannabis. This is how your company started with. What are some other things you're looking to get into when it comes to this product and being able to expand it? I know it's not for the money, but the more hands that people have on it, I feel like it's gonna be, makes the world better as well. So what are some other things you're trying to push towards?
I mean, that's the passion part of it. Is the other things that I want to grow are trees. Like, I want to grow a peach tree, like, in my basement.
Okay.
Like, that's the type of stuff that we would like to be able to do with this. So, yeah, I mean, we started with cannabis because that was where the momentum is, and we knew that this could be applied to what we call fruit-bearing plants. So that could be tomatoes, melons, cucumbers. And that's where we're trying to get this to, and we have to bring our costs down somehow, because those other, you don't make that much money growing cucumbers like you do with cannabis. So we've been trying to identify and working with partners that will do the R&D for us, so we can figure out how can we do this so that there is an environmental, positive, a financial positive for everybody that's growing cucumbers, and they want to grow it indoors in vertically stacked arrangements. So. Yeah, I mean, I did a talk, wow, it was a long time ago. I couldn't even talk about what the product was because we didn't have our patent, but I got invited to talk at MIT, and I was like, I'm not turning this down. So I got to figure out how am I going to talk about Trella, but not talk about all of it. Yeah. So I just talked a little bit about, like, my thought behind how cannabis technology is the momentum that's there is going to wind up being shifted into food, which is probably for the best, because we really need a lot more efficiency and a lot more tech being put at food, not just cannabis. So for us, we were like, we're part of that. Like, we know that this is where we're starting, but we always knew we wanted to go to food. And, that's that red alert, like, we need to be growing food indoors no matter where you are, because the earth is changing. And we're past, in my opinion, the conversations around controlling how much carbon we're putting in, and it's more about survival mode and what do we need to do to have the infrastructure to be able to live in the new world that will be here. And I don't even get into like what caused climate change. Was it man-made? Is it part of the the Earth's natural cycle? It's probably a combination of both, in my opinion. But we're past that. Like we need to start building the ark. Like get it together, everybody. So yeah, that's where I am.
I like the thought because I haven't thought about it, but I haven't thought about it like that at all. I assumed, at least in my head, the conversation was still there, but yeah, we're definitely past the point where, I mean, I feel like every time I see a new article, the world's going to end sooner and sooner. To hear you say survival mode was kind of funny, but also kind of scary.
Yeah.
Where it makes like a need for these inventions. The proper word I'm looking for. I can't think
innovation,
of the word.
yeah.
Thank you. Innovation,
Yeah.
Innovative of like doing new things. Because you said growing a tree in your basement, like that sounds crazy, but the fact that it's possible is even crazier.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to be an alarmist. Like, I mean, I worked in the risk engineering, industry for like over 15 years. And and what I had to do almost for every client was go in and try to convince them that there was a problem that they have never experienced before. And that takes like work. And I remember, sometimes I'd come in and they'd be like, here comes Crazy Asia with her, with her stories about what's going to happen. But that's where I am again. I'm like, shoot, now I'm here telling people like, yo, this is not good. This is not good. And we've known for quite some time, and there are people with resources that are already making moves that that the majority of us are not making. I had a friend of mine, she's from a wealthy background. Her family had property on Martha's Vineyard. They bought something right on the water and then sold it like 2 years later. And I was like, why'd they sell it? I mean, obviously, like they could pay for the mortgage in 1 week's rent, And she was like, because of climate change. This was probably maybe 8 or 10 years ago. Just, he's a lawyer, just new.
No stuff, yeah.
I gotta sell that property because it's not going to make it. It's not legacy. I can't pass that down to my children and know that it's going to be there. So they're moving property. It's FEMA. I got all types of stories I won't go into.
Yeah, I mean, not to be honest, that's why I don't want to move on to the coast. I'm scared of like a real tsunami coming to America. That's a possibility.
Yeah, there's lots of possibilities. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it crazy. I would call it looking at the world like half full. I don't even know what I would call it fully, but
Not reality.
Something real.
People are trying to, act like this is like some fairy tale thing where nothing bad happens, and what we do to the earth every single day, it affects everyone. Everything we put outside, it has to go somewhere.
Right.
So
Right.
making sure you're putting the right things out, similar to energy. You put the right energy out, you should get the right things back. Take care of the environment, you should be good living in it. So
We really need to return to that.
Yeah. All right, so tell me this: someone that wants to work at Trella, what must they do?
We will be hiring like crazy soon. We're raising some capital. Once we achieve that, we will be hiring. And at that time, I would say if you're interested, follow us either on social or the newsletter.
Drop the tag.
Just give us your tag.
Yeah. So follow us on Instagram at Trella Tech. So the Trella is TRELLA, and then Tech TECH. So at Trella Tech will get you to us on Instagram. We're on YouTube, LinkedIn, not on Facebook anymore. Starting to play around with TikTok, but we were talking about this earlier. TikTok takes up so much energy.
Yeah, yes. I hate it.
So, but we're there. And then if you just want to like join a newsletter or something, go to Trella.io. That's our website. Scroll down to the bottom, newsletter, sign up. You'll be able to follow us there. And we don't send out a lot of we won't overdo it. We send out maybe like something once every 2 weeks at tops. So check us out if you want to get hired, because we will be hiring. I think for people that are looking to be a part of the team, one of the things that's most important to me as the CEO, and I've managed before, and I bring that old corporate mentality to how I manage again. But it's all about like being passionate about what you're doing. Like I really don't want to hire people that are just looking for something that looks attractive, because that we do unfortunately get people like, wow, that's cool, I want to work for Trella, and I'm like, yeah, but you got to really work.
It sounds like a lot of work. I ain't gonna lie. It sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, we build these things in a shop, most of it by hand. We deliver them to our customers because we want to make sure that they have success. So we don't want to just ship them out, at least for the beginning while we're learning and trying to get the product, refined. We want to deliver them, help you set it up if you want us to, and make sure that you're on a good path. And that takes like a lot of time. And we need help with that.
You got any salespeople on your team?
We have a couple of people that we're bringing on for that. We just signed. We just brought on a new group called Digital Nations, who's going to be helping us with our sales and marketing, and they're going to be kind of overseeing that. But whoever it is, whoever's representing the company, I think it's got to be, positive energy and willingness to work. So yeah, I mean, any age, like any age group, any type, like as long as you're willing to work and you're good at what you do, it's all good. Yeah.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah. All right, so I did have one. I got a couple more questions, but I got one question right now. I feel like I should have asked it at the beginning, but I think about it now, so I'm gonna ask it now. Why the name Trella?
That name came from, and I can't remember. It's so sad. I can't remember if the logo or the name came from this contest that I put, like, it was this website where if you wanted a name for your company, you explain to a bunch of creatives what the company is about. They come up with a bunch of ideas, and you get to look at them all and then select the one that you like, and that's the person that gets compensated for their time.
Oh, I need to get into that.
Yeah.
I got some good names.
But I had over 200 submissions, and I had to boil it down, and we just went back and forth, Dre and I think maybe even Beth Waterfall. I was on our board. I think we would try to figure out what was the best name out of all of them, and we went with Trella. 2 syllables. That's supposed to be of importance too when you're naming stuff or something like that. So we went with Trella Tech, and just thought it sounded cool too.
Wow. It does sound cool. So.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Even though it makes me think of Trilla.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know what Trilla is.
Yeah.
Something you think of it, but I'm I also like the name.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's a good association. It sounds good. It sounds good for sure. Sure. I don't know if I need more questions.
No, I was gonna let you go.
No,
I ran out. So
okay, I got one last thing. So my objection here, once I really knew what I did a lot more research, was to make sure you have the opportunity to make your pitch to whoever the investors are.
Yeah.
That you're looking to attract, because it's nice to have money, but it's also nice to have people who are going to allow you to follow your vision and trust you with their money.
Yeah.
So, you have a camera right there. I want to give you the opportunity to speak to the investor and let them know why Trella.
Yeah, if you haven't picked up on it already, we're a different company. We don't operate the same as everyone else, but we're really focused on a mission, and that's to try to figure out how we can grow as much as possible inside. If you find that mission important, you can invest, and we're opening our investment up to the entire public. You don't have to be what's called an accredited investor to invest with us. It could be $500, $1,000. If you go to our website, you'll find information about that. But we're looking for people who believe in the mission, because again, as I mentioned, we're a benefit corp. So we're going to be doing everything that we can to make sure that we can figure out solutions to this diabolical problem that we're in. So yeah, if you're up for that, if that's what you're interested in, if you want to support a team that's looking to try to be smart about how they use their money and still get to the goal, we're here. Also, for those that are more on that financial side of, well, okay, I gave you some money, but what's in it? Well, there's ownership in the company, but eventually we will have an exit. And for us, that exit will look like either merging with a larger global company, or being acquired by a larger global company. And our goal is to do that within 3 to 5 years. So if you're interested in your exit, that's some information for you too to consider. We've got a lot of opportunity. We're playing in 2 huge markets: cannabis, vertical farming. There's a major need. We're the only patented solution out there. So check us out, get comfortable with us, and then help us out financially.
All right, word. I just want to give a round of applause. That was beautiful. I want to throw my money in there right now. So yeah, besides that, did you have anything else you wanted to share?
I just wanted to say how proud I am to be here.
Okay, word. Appreciate that.
I remember, because, I've been doing this thing for since 2016. I think I ran into Lori in maybe like 2018, and then Ulysses and around that same time period. And it's just been inspiring to watch the two of them be consistent and kind of on the low, like just working hard, consistently without all of the like, look what I'm doing. It appeared. And for someone like me that's kind of feeling like I'm doing the same thing, like I'm working, you may not see everything that we're doing, but you're going to eventually see, like, boom, that's what they were working on. So I just wanted to say thanks to Major Boom, because it's been an inspiration to keep me going, looking, to your left and your right, and you're like, yeah, we're all in this. It's not just I'm not alone. So to be able to see, to sit here and to see it, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. That artwork over there is amazing. You did a nice job. So I just want to big up Major Boom.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I did want to say one last thing. I wanted to shout out, I believe your assistant or whoever I was contacted throughout this whole process.
Yeah.
Let me get her name real quick, just so I don't mess it up, because she was absolutely amazing throughout this whole time.
I'm glad.
This is something that we've been trying to do for a couple of weeks, couple of months now,
Mm-hmm.
and we got it happening. So I just want to try to find the name real quick before. Denise.
Yes, Denise and Sherry. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes, Denise and Sherry. Yes, very, very good. Both of them, amazing. I appreciate them. Sherry, who I was contacted with, throughout this whole process.
Yeah.
Amazing. She was great. So shout out to her. We are Major Boom. Major Boom. We're for the record. I'm your host, Harry Danso, here with Ravon. Asia, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Again, we are your mother's favorite nephews. Peace.